Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another Waterfed Wednesday. Happy to have everyone here. Cheers to everyone. Drinking out of my new Tucker mug.
Yes. Come on,
As you
bottle.
can see, whoa, we're staying fresh,
Yeah.
refreshed.
Yeah.
As you can see, we got our special guest, Ryan DeHoop,
What's
Tucker
up?
Solar Rep. How's it going out there in California?
It's good. Things are starting to warm up and just looking forward to a busy season for the summer and late spring. So, yeah, everything's great.
That's awesome. Well, if this is the first time you guys are joining us, we have 43 other episodes that you can check out. Uh, Best place to watch them all in one place would be our Tucker YouTube channel. It's Tucker underscore USA. You can check out previous episodes. Ryan, I think this is your third time being a guest on here. So definitely go back, check out Ryan's full story. Uh, Coming from a union plumber to being a entrepreneur owning your solar cleaning business. So definitely check out that episode. So yeah, this episode we thought we would do something a podcast related to running businesses. We know we like to talk about several things here. We like to go beyond the bucket and dive into the world of water-fed cleaning, where we get to answer your questions about our equipment, our businesses, and our goals of helping cleaners worldwide get the job done faster, safer, and better. So this time we're going to be talking about your businesses and how we can help. Episode title this week is from solar operator to sales leader, scaling the right way with Ryan DeHoop. So Ryan, just a little backstory here. Might be going off script here, but just a refresher. If someone's new to Ryan DeHoop, can you give us a little backstory?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been about 6 years since I've started the solar cleaning business. And I was just talking to someone about a kit the other day and, sharing my journey, it got him excited and going because it literally was from a bucket of soap and just cleaning my dad's solar panels a few years ago and realizing that there was an industry, that this market was up and coming, especially in SoCal. So I got right on top of it and just made it a weekend deal. Had no idea what I was doing, charging $50 for a cleaning, just making side money. And then here I am, 6 years later and have 3 employees now. Last year had up to 5 employees. So I think this is kind of where I fit in right now as far as scaling and handling employees.
Awesome. So you definitely are a person that's been in the trenches, as they say. Now you get to help out other owners, whether it's products or once you start talking business, and that's I think where we also help out a lot is help out through our experiences and help them out as well. Uh, get the hitting the ground running just instead of going through a lot of those errors, right? So,
Yeah.
so we definitely want to set the stage here. What's going on? We see that a lot of people do everything by trial. So let's get into it, Ryan. Let's talk about building the blueprint before hiring. So did you have systems, CRM tracking, all the workflows dialed in before you hired?
So
Yeah,
it kind of worked out that I was right in the middle of that transition. I started to understand that I didn't want to be out in the truck full time. So I always had the CRM in place. Jobber is a great CRM. There's so many of them out there, but that definitely helped with the scheduling and workflow and hire or appointing certain employees to those jobs. But other than that, I really didn't understand what SOPs were, systems were. Just kind of was just going through it, showing them what I knew. And that was the gist of it, especially early on with just 1 or 2 employees. And then as I decided that I wanted to get out of the truck more, I had pushed off on coaching for the longest time. But, when you think that you can do everything on your own or that you have all the knowledge, it's kind of where you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? So I had followed David Mormon for a while. He was someone that I understood kind of aligned with the values that I was looking for a coach. And that was when it turned for me. in terms of getting that situation and understanding that there's so much more to than just the employees, right? There's the backbone, there's the financial numbers, the man rate hours. Um, all of that is what I began to understand and really figure out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So with all that said, did you were you going through that before you started hiring, or did you have that
So I had
kind
one or
of
two employees,
route?
and just a CRM essentially, and so that wasn't so bad. But like I said, when I got into the coaching program and then really figuring out what these SOPs are, what the systems are, is when I dialed that in and really figured out, because there would be tons of mistakes, leaving polls behind, or a few callbacks, and you realize that $10 or that 10-minute error becomes a 2-hour callback, right? You got the travel time, the expenses. So when you have these SOPs and everything in place, there's a better understanding. There's so much that these employees are trying to figure out, especially in the first couple of weeks, right? And without having these systems, there's no way that something's not going to happen, right? So yeah, as I transition, and one of the things before we go into the next one was, one or two employees, self-employed, you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to numbers. You can kind of just ask the market, hey, what's the going rate? And you're okay, right? And that's why when someone asks me now how to project a bid or how to price a bid out or whatever, I give them the answer they don't want, which is, what is your man hour, your expenses, your profit margin, all of that. Because when I had one or two employees, I skated on by. But when I had 5 employees, wow, workers' comp rates changed, insurance policy rates changed, and I was really shooting myself in the foot because my rates, I had no idea. I wasn't pricing the job the way it should be. And then a year later, policies are getting renewed, pricing goes up. I couldn't keep up with it. So essentially I was, in a negative situation as far as pricing versus what it should be for man hours, right? So it really comes down to one person working by themselves is totally different from someone that has 5 employees.
Yeah, so you really got to have that in place when you're starting out, it sounds like, because if
Right.
you're just be pricing it as if it was you doing a job, like you're not even the owner of the business, but you're just out thinking you have your old mentality of, this is
Mm,
how much I made at my previous job. I think I can
right.
get by with this. But you got to really have that mindset of growth from the
Mhm.
from the start, really.
Right.
Uh, so going talking about the SOPs that you got about, having with everything involving with employees and everything else, did that kind of shift the way you look for ideal client or a candidate for being one of your rep or techs?
Yeah, yeah, it really did, because now you have something in place that they could really go for and really start to implement into the way they operate. And if you don't have that, you really can't understand what they're messing up on, or you don't have nothing to look back towards or reference back to. So as you become someone that has these systems and SOPs in place, then you can really understand what employees uh, are following those, and what are they not catching on to, what mistakes are they making that's still a reoccurring thing. So I think it definitely helps you understand what you're looking for in an employee, and how that's going to help you with your vision in your company.
Yeah, definitely. Because going back to losing stuff, and that's just going to add to your cost. So you got to have plans for finding that right ideal candidate. So awesome.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I always say, just real quick too, is you always look for those common quality traits like reliability, dependability, hard work. But I go to staying more of, look for those characteristics that are more personable, something that resonates with what you stand behind, right? Like if you're a straight up guy and you just want them to just get to the job, straight to the point, then look for those people. If you're a culture that you want an upbeat, talkative culture that's lively, look for those people, because obviously that's going to help them understand where your culture's at.
Yeah, great point. Great point. They want to check in, see we got Matt Garcia chiming in.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
can't wait to the next time we run into each other, Matt. We got to hang out at the Huge last time, and obviously Matt's here local to us, but he's also doing some great things in the drone world. So shout out
Yes.
to Matt.
And he's selling Tucker gear too now, right? I think on his site.
That's absolutely right. So he's part of the Tucker family.
There we go.
So speaking of Tucker gear, great segue. We just wanted to talk about what we have going on in the world, Tucker. This month we have our summer savings event. So when you're talking about speaking of scaling up, and you want to make sure you get your crews ready for the absolute busiest months of the year, you can't send them out there, your growing team, without the right gear. So Ryan, I don't want to throw you under the bus, but what's going on this month?
Well, we got the 10% off store-wide sale, and so that, that's the great time to get into it. I'm hoping that pretty soon we got some exciting stuff. Well, all this year, it seems like we're going to have some stuff coming out for Tucker that we look forward to sharing. But yeah, especially in the solar world, got something that I'm looking forward to announce pretty soon. And yeah, make sure you can get with me, message me for any questions, especially with the store-wide sale. Take advantage of some of the stuff you need to get on.
Yeah, so definitely got store wide. We have 10% off, and if you're unsure what to look into, we got great reps like Ryan to help you guys out. You often see him on the live chat if you go hang out on the website. Or we can definitely hook you up with Ryan's number. Ryan, do you have that on hand? If not, you could.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Well, I'll be sure to put it in the description later on, but or definitely at ryan@rhgproducts.com, and Ryan can definitely help you out there.
Yeah, and anything social media wise, Ryan DeHoop, just search my name up, IG, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Well, let's also throw a shout out to your Facebook group as well that you help admin.
Yes, Solar Cleaners Network.
Yeah, so
yeah,
great source of information there as well. So
absolutely.
All right, so getting back into it, our next segment, we're talking about managing the team and the culture stuff. So how do you transition to a company culture from one guy hustling to a team that actually buys into the whole vision that you're putting out there?
Yeah, I think if you know what your vision is and kind of what you're looking for, and your core values, when you have that and you're fully invested into that, and you're transparent with those employees or these new people, I think that's the best thing you can do, right? And some of that is being a little vulnerable, opening up kind of the back end world of the business, even knowing some of the numbers, right? You don't got to get, sharing your bank accounts and all that, but the more that they understand how much tools cost, why we move, how we move, and how fast we do things is because it's related to time and money and profits, right? And the more that they understand that, I think that, and they see that you trust and confide in them with that information, I think that's huge. And they just really feel like, okay, this guy is just letting me know everything and what they stand behind. And they feel like they're now responsible for that. They want to lean into that more, so I think that's the best thing you can do when it comes to going from, the single guy to multiple people, and keeping the same cores of what you're doing and what you're looking for in place, but just portraying that to the others that you have now with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I apologize, I forgot to turn on the do not disturb, and I'm getting bombarded here. So apologies there.
Wasn't sure if that was you or not. Yeah.
Move along with the discussion. One of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing with window cleaning business owners or solar panel, the exterior cleaning business owners that they have with the employees' first 2 weeks on the job?
Yeah, those first 2 weeks are the most crucial, right? And I think you can have going to the SOPs and systems, those are great. You need those mandatory, something that the employees can always fall back on. But I think the next biggest mistake is that you're not out in the field long enough with your guys and training them and really letting them understand how these techniques, again, just understanding what you're looking for, the techniques you operate with, your position, your processes, everything like that. I think something that I even did last year was I got a little comfortable because I had these 5 rockstar employees. I was like, okay, they're out in the field, they're doing great. They're getting the 5-star reviews, but then also I would wonder on some jobs why it was taking 4 hours instead of 2 hours, and my big thing is I can get on those guys all I want, but the fact of the matter is if something's going on, it falls back on you. You didn't train them. Again, you didn't give them that SOP from the beginning. So there's really no one to blame but yourself as a business owner. So you really got to understand and go like, hey, look, let's look at what I didn't give them. So that's what I've seen the last year is I just got so comfortable with letting them go that, they might run into a window project where all of a sudden there's a bunch of pole work, and I taught them lower level traditional. I taught them water fed, but now they're taking an hour and a half trying to swivel a pole around, something you never think about, right, until it happens. So I think that's the biggest thing is just making sure that, a couple times a month, make sure you're going out there and letting them train you. Like if I was the newcomer coming up on board, let me see your whole process. I don't want to be the guy just continuously showing you how good I do a window. I want you to show as a person showing me, and then I can really see like, what, this could have been a little different there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good points there. I heard that said many times. I think I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dan Martell, but he talks about this thing called the camcorder method. So he records himself doing it.
Mhm.
So he makes sure that they understand the process, and then he'll have them review it, and then they become the trainers. And it's like, all right, now you tell me how it's done.
Right. Yep. And I have not heard that, but it's exactly kind of what I'm getting at is yeah, now they took on exactly the processes you want. Now let's see it reciprocate that. Great
Yeah,
point.
yeah, and I think I recall seeing some of the videos you put out there um, about going out into the field. I think it was the times where you're doing hanging Christmas lights, and you were going through explaining it. Yeah, you had, I don't know what you were recording with uh, the glasses or whatever, but you
Yeah.
were there out in the field, and you're showing them not just like this is how you do it, but this is why you do it,
Right.
so they have that understanding, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because, real quick, I think that resonates again to how you portray the culture that you want. Because if you're just showing them do this, do this, do this, not a lot of people take stuff in right like that, right? When you're showing them why you do things and there's a reasoning behind it, again, you're opening up. It's not just like, oh, he's my boss, dude's a prick. He points the finger at me all the time. They're now going, okay, this makes sense why we want to have it a direct 45 cut because it butts up nicer. The list goes on and on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great points. So for them to have a true understanding, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, uh, and if you're hiring the right type of people, like you mentioned before, then they're going to be the ones that are becoming the new leaders in your organization, and
Exactly.
that's kind of people we want. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
talking about the the right hires, let's talk about maybe some red flags. So what are some of the early warning signs that a new hire isn't going to work out, and how have you handled that situation?
Yeah, you can actually find out fairly quickly. And I think if you're with them for those 2 weeks and it's going back to those little characteristics, right? Those personal traits. It's not necessarily like, I want you to operate exactly like this. But if you're showing up and I say it's 7 o'clock, we're leaving, and you're showing up at 7 o'clock, that's the type of mentality that I don't want to see. You know, of course you can have your accidents, of course there's traffic, but if I say 7 o'clock, then I would think that you're going to be here at 6:50, right? Because 7 o'clock rolls around, I'm not having you, oh, do we need anything for the job? I'm trying to leave out the door. I said, you know, we're leaving at, so it's transparency and stuff like that. But if they can't really do that, you know, 90% of the time, or they're already showing those kind of tendencies, that's one thing. Another thing I like to see is not running, but moving at a fast pace, because at least for my services, you know, if we're doing a commercial job of 20,000 panels and time is of the essence and you understand why, and I tell you, go grab that hose reel and you need to bring it over here. If you're walking like a turtle, you know, that's not what I need, you know. And there's jobs that go do retail, right? It's not the most demanding job, but when it comes down to it and we need to move, I expect you to move, you know, and you get rewarded for that, right? You pay them well. You again tell them why we operate this. Every once in a while you buy them coffee, you know, those kind of things help them really feel valued in that kind of stuff, you know. So it's just those tendencies that if you're already kind of seeing these things that don't, again, necessarily align with you, it's best to just kind of cut the tie there then and just say, hey, it's not going to work out. I like to keep those first 2 weeks like a cash deal type thing, you know, before we do a full onboarding process. And you again, you're transparent with them. You let them know beforehand, hey, we're going to try this out for the both of us. I'm going to give you cash and pay you like I would, but let's fill it out for a couple weeks and then we can do a full onboarding process if it works out. I think those are those red flags that you really end up trying to figure out in the end. That will help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because and that helps, you know, it helps that you're there watching it. Because you definitely don't want, you know, you think everything's going good and they're out there representing your company. Like you talked about your values, everything. So they need to be right on par. Right.
Yeah.
So
And
absolutely.
just real quick too, I've been out in the field more lately this last year. I have 3 employees, not including myself right now. We'll probably ramp up for the summer. But yeah, I'm catching those things because again, last year I was out of the field for so long. Now that I'm with someone, I'm able to go, you know what? I wouldn't have known that you were doing that this way and you've been doing it like this for 6 months, and that's great. But let me show you this way, and you're going to like love that. It's going to hurt your back less, you know, you're going to feel a lot better about the job, and it's a win-win for everyone, right? So, yeah.
Awesome. Uh, yeah. So, just to recap, you know, just get your SOPs in
Yep.
order, right?
Yep.
Think of really not the end, but because our goal is to have a business that's worth running, and we all get into business because we want that freedom for our family. So think about that, right?
Yes.
Don't just go into it as a job. Think about
Right.
the expenses. Make sure you're accounting for everything. Like you said, when you come to growth, it rising insurance costs,
Yep.
vehicles are going to fail on you. You're going to have to get new ones. So plan with that. Make sure that your guys are fully equipped, knowing the process,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And watch out for those flags. So
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome.
And a little bit too, real quick, is what I found, and just kind of to steal from David Mormon's coaching thing, but start a Google Drive. And even if you're a single employee, right, or you're a self-employed person right now, start a Google Drive, use ChatGPT, and start building these folders and just put SOP for window cleaning and have them ready. And you'll start seeing the system that you really need to scale up, and it's already going to be there in place. And, you know, you have tons of storage with that Google Drive.
Awesome. Good advice. So, any other tips other than that? That's a great piece of advice. What's some other things just to help our viewers with about running their business?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I hear or see on Facebook groups and everything is like where to find your people, where to find these great rock star employees, right? Again, I had 5 of them last year. I think there was like a total of 5 call-in days between all 5 of them. They might be less than that. Like no
Wow.
one ever called off. They were so reliable. And how did I find those? Honestly, I know it's frowned upon a little bit, but it was through friends and family. Don't close that avenue off yet. And I'm not necessarily saying to hire a direct immediate family member, but what I'm saying is use them as referrals because they understand what you are as a business owner. They already kind of have an idea of, hey, Ryan means business. He takes care of business. This is his strict protocol that, he does this a certain way. He's OCD about this. And they know those people that you're looking for. So,
Yep.
if it's a young kid that's hungry, he's willing to train, he's willing to learn something new. Give those a shot because, again, those people know what you're already looking for. And 9 times out of 10, they have a kid that's just getting out of high school, that is just hungry, motivated. You see that fast pacedness out of them. And that's how I found all 5 of them, is just, and then creating that culture from there. But they were all good friends of a family member. Some of them came from small business families in the past, so they already knew that, hey, when it comes to these smaller businesses, we got to move a different way than being a guy at McDonald's, right? So yeah, don't ever close that chapter or close that avenue. As far as, people always say try Indeed and all that, sure, but if you're looking for a cheap free way to find some great employees, don't shut that down.
Yeah, great point. And we go both ways. I mean, we've put out those ads on Indeeds, and I'll tell you, those are a lot rougher. You go
Yeah,
through a lot of people, and
yeah,
you schedule it, and they flake out even before the interview.
sure.
But as many know, Sean, if you follow him on Facebook, you'll see he'll put it out there. Hey, friends, local friends, who do you know that is
Yeah,
looking for work? Right?
yep,
That's looking for a nice career.
yep,
Um, because you're right, the people that know you, they know what you're looking for. They're going to recommend the people that are right for the job. So yeah,
exactly.
don't think that I don't want to have this friend recommend this person is not going to work out. Well, they're going to most likely know everything. When you put that out there, they're going to give you the right
Exactly.
people because they
Right.
also they want to help you out. They want to help out the other person who needs something, right?
Yeah.
That's a great point. Um, to add to that, something actually we started doing, I think last year, is within the company, we actually have a referral bonus for the employees. So if they
Okay.
recommend somebody, that we go through the whole process and hire them, and then after they'll get an initial bonus, and then they get a bonus after 90 days
Mhm.
of the new employee, because at that point you're also want to recommend another rock star, right?
Yeah.
Because your reputation's on the line as well. So that has
Yeah.
worked out well for us. So I
Yeah.
think that'll be great for service businesses as well.
Yeah, and capping on that, just having your boundaries and letting them know what you're looking for, because you can have like friends of a friend refer them or refer a friend over, and again, it goes back to that culture that it's like, hey, if you guys do everything I need you to, have fun. You already know the people you're working with. Those conversations during the ride home are going to be so much better. Again, the culture gets picked up as long as you're transparent as a business owner. Like, hey, from this time to this time we mean business, and you gotta separate that friend versus employee. But other than that, if you do that, you're good. And I'll just end it with, like, my nephew. He was a kid I never thought I would hire. He always tried nudging me. We actually had some like elbows bump in the past, and I finally just gave him the shot, and now he's running my robot out there and training guys. And so it just goes back to, like, just if you do it right and you set your expectations, never judge a book by its cover, because he's getting so many reviews on his own and running teams on his own and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's
Oh,
really how you train and how you set it up, right? If it goes back to, if you didn't do it then set it up right, you're the one to blame.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimate accountability right there. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't
Yeah.
Don't look to others. If it's, especially if you see a common trend, then it's like, okay, what am I doing? What could I be doing? So great points. So
Cool.
awesome, Ryan. Appreciate having you on here. Definitely going to help out our solar entrepreneurs out there, operators, into growing into legit businesses. So if you have any questions regarding that, definitely hit up Ryan. He can definitely help you out. Obviously, we're here to help with our any of your equipment needs in the waterfed world. Tucker's been around since 1957, so most trusted brand in the industry, and you got some of the most trusted reps in the industry as well. So grateful to have you on board, Ryan. So just a reminder, all month long, you're able to save 10% off on our website at tuckerusa.com. And thank you all for chiming in this week and listening in. Look forward to the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.